You know the feeling, right? You've got an ad that's an absolute winner. It's just crushing it. And then, all of a sudden, it dies. You try to scale up, you pour more money in, and your costs just go through the roof. You've hit the wall. Well, today, we're going to tear down that wall using a playbook from Alex Hormozi. And trust me, the solution is not what you think.
And this right here, this is the entire idea. The problem isn't that you've run out of customers. It's that you've run out of ads good enough to convince them. Getting this one distinction in your head is a total game changer for how you approach advertising.
Okay, so let's get right into it with a story that Hormozi tells. Picture this. There's this founder, and he's spending a cool $200,000 a month on ads for a weight loss product. He is totally convinced that he has squeezed every last drop out of his market on Facebook, and he just can't spend another dime without the whole thing collapsing.
So in his mind, there's no more low-hanging fruit. Anytime they try to push past about $8,000 a day in ad spend, their cost to acquire a customer just skyrockets. Does that sound familiar to anyone? So the real question is the market really saturated?
Well, Hormozi asks the founder a really simple question. He says, how many new ads are you guys making each month? And the answer is 5. Just 5 new ads a month. And, for most businesses, that probably sounds pretty normal. Maybe even a lot.
But here's the kicker. Hormozi's solution wasn't to, make one slightly better ad. No, it was to go from 5 ads a month to 600. Yeah, you heard me right, 600. This is a completely different way of thinking. It's not about chasing that one perfect ad. It's about achieving quality through massive, massive volume. And this is the big takeaway. You haven't exhausted your market. You've just exhausted what your current ads can do. See, truly great ads can convert people who are way colder, who are way further out. And the only reliable way to find those incredible ads is to produce and test them at a scale that most people would think is insane.
So, how in the world do you create 600 ads a month without hiring an entire Hollywood studio? Well, you stop treating ad creation like some kind of sacred art form, and you start treating it like an assembly line. You don't create ads from scratch, you assemble them from proven interchangeable parts.
So every single ad you see, no matter how complicated it looks, it's really just built from these 3 simple pieces. First, you've got the hook, which is all about grabbing attention in those first 3 seconds. Then you have the meat. That's the body of the ad that actually delivers on what the hook promised. And finally, the CTA, the call to action, that tells people exactly what to do next. That's it. That's the whole assembly line.
Okay, so if that's the system, where should you be spending your energy? A whopping 80% of your prep time should be spent just on the hooks. I mean, think about it, right? If your hook fails, nobody's ever going to see that brilliant meat or that perfect CTA you wrote. The hook is the single biggest point of leverage in this entire system.
So let's really dig into these hooks, because mastering them is honestly the key to unlocking all of this scale. To write great ones, you have to understand who you're talking to. And the most important thing to get is that not everybody in your market is at the same level of awareness. And for that, we're going to pull out a legendary marketing framework from a guy named Eugene Schwartz. See, he broke down any market into 5 distinct levels of awareness. And understanding this is how you go from talking to just a tiny slice of your audience to speaking to all of them.
So think of this whole thing like a journey. At one end, you have your most aware audience. These people know you, they know your product, they're basically just waiting for you to give them a good deal. But as you move down the list, the audience gets colder and much, much bigger, all the way down to the completely unaware, who don't even know they'd have a problem you can solve yet. Your hook has to meet each and every one of these people exactly where they are.
Okay, let's make this super practical. For a marketing agency talking to a most aware client, you just lead with the offer. Get 20% off our social media management. Easy. But for someone who's completely unaware that they might eventually want a weight loss shake, you have to start way earlier, sparking curiosity with a hook like the hidden danger in your daily routine. You can start to see how just one product needs dozens of different hooks to talk to the whole market. All right, so once you have a system for pumping out hooks for every awareness level, putting together the rest of the ad becomes way more efficient. So now, let's talk about the meat and that call to action.
So, the meat. This is the main body of your ad. Its only job is to deliver on the promise your hook just made. And the best part is, you don't need to reinvent the wheel for this. You can just rely on proven, time-tested formats that work in pretty much any industry. The goal here isn't endless originality, it's reliability. You really only need, say, 3 to 5 solid versions of these formats each week to test against all of your different hooks.
And for that final piece of the assembly line, the call to action, the rule is dead simple. Be painfully obvious. Don't try to get cute. Don't be clever. Your audience has this tiny little window of motivation, and you have to tell them exactly what to do, leaving absolutely zero room for confusion.
A perfect call to action basically anticipates and answers every single little subconscious question a person has in that split second of decision. What do I do? Where do I do it? Why should I do it now? What am I going to get? And what happens after I click? When you spell all of that out, you just erase all the friction and make it so much easier for them to say yes.
So let's put this all together now. The whole system is about creating this huge matrix of possibilities. You test dozens and dozens of hooks against just a handful of meets and a couple of CTAs, and all of a sudden, you're not hunting for a needle in a haystack anymore. You've built a machine that automatically finds the needles for you. And when one of them hits, you just double down and pour gasoline on the fire.
And that really is the final question to leave you with. The path to real scale isn't about finding a single GOAT ad. It's about building a GOATed ads system, a factory that can consistently pump out winners day after day. It's a shift from being an artist, hoping for a masterpiece, to being an architect who builds the machine. Which one are you going to choose to be?